The phone buzzed at exactly 2:47 a.m., and when Naomi picked it up with trembling hands, her entire world shattered into 1,000 pieces. The bank notification glowed in the darkness. Credit alert, N15,000,000.00 from Marcus Okafor. 15 million naira. Her stingy husband, who had refused to give her money for their daughter's school fees just 3 days ago, had just transferred more money than she had seen in their entire 5 years of marriage. But it was a follow-up message that made her blood run cold. "Baby, I told you I'd take care of you. Buy that car you wanted. You deserve everything." The message wasn't meant for her. Her hand shook so violently that the phone nearly slipped from her grip. If you ever felt the ground disappear beneath your feet, stay with me because this story will break your heart and open your eyes. Naomi sat frozen on the edge of their king-size bed, staring at the phone screen until her vision blurred with tears. The bedroom they had shared for 5 years suddenly felt like a stranger's room. Marcus lay beside her, snoring peacefully, completely unaware that he had just destroyed their marriage with a single transaction. The man who claimed there was no money to fix the leaking roof had 15 million naira to give to another woman. The man who shouted at her for buying new shoes for their 4-year-old daughter Zara was showering gifts on his side chick. Every excuse, every insult, every moment of financial cruelty suddenly made perfect sense. He wasn't broke. He was just stingy with his wife and generous with his mistress. Her chest tightened with the pain, so intense she thought she might stop breathing. 5 years of her life wasted on a man who was living a double life right under her nose. The memories flooded back like a dam breaking open, each one more painful than the last. She remembered begging him for money to take Zara to the hospital when she had malaria last month. Marcus had yelled at her, called her irresponsible, said she was always asking for money like he was printing it in the backyard. She had borrowed from her mother, who could barely afford it herself. She remembered the embarrassment at Zara's school when the teacher called her aside to say they would have to withdraw her daughter if the fees weren't paid soon. Marcus had told her to find a way, that he wasn't running a charity. She had sold her gold necklace, the only valuable thing she owned, a gift from her late grandmother. And all this time, he had 15 million naira to throw at another woman. The betrayal cut deeper than any knife could. It wasn't just about the money. It was about the lies, the manipulation, the way he had made her feel worthless while treating someone else like a queen. Naomi's phone buzzed again. Another message from Marcus's number. "Did you get it? Call me when you see this. Can't wait to see you tomorrow night." Her stomach turned. Tomorrow night. That meant he was planning to see this woman, this side chick who was destroying their home. How long had this been going on? How many times had he lied about working late or traveling for business? How many family dinners had he missed to be with her? The question spun in her head like a tornado, each one bringing fresh waves of pain and anger. She looked at Marcus again, this peaceful, sleeping stranger who had promised to love and cherish her. The man who had been so sweet during their courtship, bringing her flowers, taking her to nice restaurants, promising her the world. That man had died somewhere along the way, replaced by this cold, cruel impostor who treated her like a burden and insulted her at every opportunity. She stood up slowly, her legs feeling like they might give way beneath her. The phone was still in her hand, the evidence of his betrayal glowing in the dark. 15 million naira. The amount kept echoing in her mind. She walked to the window and stared out at the Lagos skyline, the city lights blinking like distant stars. Her marriage was over. She knew that with absolute certainty. But what would she do now? Where would she go with Zara? Her mother's small flat in Surulere was barely big enough for one person. She had no job because Marcus had convinced her to quit working after Zara was born, saying her mother should stay home with her child. Now she realized it was all part of his plan to control her, to make her dependent on him so she would have no choice but to accept his cruelty. The phone buzzed one more time. "Baby, why aren't you responding? I'm getting worried." But it wasn't worry in his tone. It was impatience. The same impatience he showed her when she asked for basic necessities. Naomi's jaw tightened. She would respond all right, just not in the way he expected. The stingy husband who mistakenly sent his wife a huge sum of money thinking it's his side chick was about to learn the most expensive lesson of his life. If you want to know what Naomi did with that money and how this stingy husband's world came crashing down, don't go anywhere. Hit that like button and let me know in the comments if you think she should keep the money or confront him. Next chapter is coming right up. The morning sun streamed through the kitchen window as Naomi made breakfast with mechanical precision. Her eyes were swollen from crying all night, but she had put on makeup to hide the evidence. Marcus walked in at 7:30 a.m., adjusting his tie, the same tie she had bought him for his birthday last year with money she had saved from her small online business. He glanced at her briefly. No good morning, no acknowledgement that she existed. Just that look of mild annoyance he always wore when he saw her, as if her presence in his house was an inconvenience. He sat at the dining table and waited for her to serve him, just like every other morning. But today was different. Today, Naomi knew the truth. Today, she was serving breakfast to a liar, a cheat, a man who valued his side chick more than his own family. "Where's my food?" Marcus asked, his voice sharp and demanding. Naomi placed a plate of yam and eggs in front of him without a word. She poured his coffee, black with no sugar, exactly how he liked it. She moved like a ghost, silent and efficient, while her mind raced with thoughts of revenge and escape. Marcus ate without thanking her, scrolling through his phone with one hand. She wondered if he was texting the side chick, making plans for their evening together, promising her more gifts bought with money that should have been feeding his daughter. Zara came running into the kitchen, her small pink pajamas slightly too small because Marcus refused to buy new ones. "Mommy, can I have pancakes?" she asked sweetly. Before Naomi could answer, Marcus slammed his fork on the table. "She'll eat what's available. Stop spoiling this child with unnecessary requests." Naomi felt something inside her snap. For years, she had tolerated his insults, his stinginess, his cruelty, all in the name of keeping the family together. But watching him deny their daughter something as simple as pancakes while planning to spend millions on another woman was the final straw. "Actually," Naomi said quietly, her voice steady despite the rage boiling inside her, "Zara can have whatever she wants today." Marcus looked up from his phone, his eyes narrowing. "Excuse me." The tension in the room thickened. Naomi met his gaze without flinching. "I said Zara can have pancakes. In fact, we're going shopping today. For new clothes, new toys, whatever she needs." Marcus stood up so fast his chair scraped against the tile floor. "Have you lost your mind? With what money? You think money grows on trees in this house?" The question hung in the air between them like a loaded gun. Naomi felt her heart pounding, but she kept her composure. This was the moment. She could either back down like she always did, or she could stand her ground and change everything. "Actually, Marcus, I received a very generous gift last night. 15 million naira to be exact." The color drained from his face. His mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. The phone slipped from his hand and clattered on the floor. The fear in his eyes was so clear, so raw, that Naomi almost felt sorry for him. Almost. What are you talking about?" he stammered, but his voice had lost all authority. It was the voice of a man who knew he had been caught. "You know exactly what I'm talking about," Naomi said, her voice gaining strength with every word. "The money you sent me at 2:47 a.m., along with the messages meant for your side chick." Marcus's face went from pale to red in seconds. But instead of shame or apology, Naomi saw something else flash across his features. Anger. The same anger he always used to intimidate her into submission. "So you're going through my phone now," he shouted, taking a step toward her. "What kind of wife does that?" Naomi laughed, a bitter sound that surprised even her. What kind of husband cheats on his wife while calling her a burden? What kind of father refuses to pay his daughter's school fees but sends millions to his girlfriend? Marcus's jaw clenched. That money was a mistake. You need to send it back right now. The audacity of his demand made Naomi's blood boil. No apology, no explanation, no remorse. Just a command to return the money so he could give it to the woman who was helping him destroy their family. I'm not sending anything back, Naomi said firmly. The argument escalated quickly, their voices rising until Zara started crying, scared by the shouting. Marcus grabbed his car keys, his face twisted with rage and panic. You're a thief, Naomi. That's what you are. A thief and a terrible wife. You think you can blackmail me? You think you can threaten me? He moved closer, and for the first time in their marriage, Naomi saw something dangerous in his eyes. Something that made her step back instinctively. If you don't send that money back by noon today, you'll regret it. I'll make your life a living hell. I'll throw you out of this house with nothing. Do you understand me? Nothing. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. Naomi stood frozen in the kitchen, Zara clinging to her legs and sobbing. The morning had gone from tense to catastrophic in minutes. She had expected denial, maybe even apology, but not threats. Not this level of fury. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. So you're the wife. You should know your husband loves me now. That money is mine. If you want to keep your marriage, send it back and disappear quietly. The side chick just entered the chat, and things are about to get messier than you can imagine. Will Naomi stand her ground or cave under pressure? Comment below what you think she should do, and don't forget to subscribe because next chapter will blow your mind. This stingy husband's mistakes are just getting started. Naomi stood at the window of their bedroom, watching the evening traffic crawl along the Lagos streets below. 3 days had passed since the transfer. 3 days since Marcus had threatened her. 3 days since the side chick had sent that arrogant message. The house felt like a war zone. Marcus had stopped coming home for dinner. He barely spoke to her except to issue orders and insults. But Naomi hadn't sent the money back. Instead, she had done something far more strategic. She had moved every single naira to a new account in her name alone, one Marcus didn't know existed. 15 million naira was sitting safe and secure, her ticket to freedom and her daughter's future. The emotional blackmail had intensified. Marcus had called her a gold digger, a manipulator, a woman who trapped him with pregnancy. Word designed to break her spirit and make her comply. But something had changed in Naomi during these 3 days. The woman who used to cry herself to sleep over his cruelty had transformed into someone harder, someone who refused to be a victim anymore. She had spent hours researching divorce lawyers, calculating how much she would need to start over, planning her escape route with military precision. Marcus didn't know it yet, but his mistaken transfer had given her more than money. It had given her power. The power to choose herself and her daughter over a man who had already chosen someone else. That evening, as she was preparing Zara for bed, the doorbell rang. Naomi's heart skipped. Marcus never rang the doorbell. He had keys. She approached the door cautiously, looking through the peephole first. What she saw made her stomach drop. A woman stood outside, tall and stunning in a red dress that probably cost more than Naomi's entire wardrobe. Designer bag, expensive shoes, full makeup. This was her, the side chick, the woman who had stolen her husband and was now standing at her door with the confidence of someone who believed she had already won. Naomi opened the door slowly, her mind racing. Up close, the woman was even more beautiful, but there was something hard in her eyes. Something calculating. Can I help you? Naomi asked, keeping her voice steady despite the chaos inside her. The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'm Jasmine. I think you know who I am. The name hit Naomi like a slap. Jasmine, the woman Marcus had been calling baby, the woman he had promised everything to, was standing in her home with the audacity of someone who belonged there. What do you want? Naomi asked, her hand still on the door, ready to slam it shut. Jasmine's smile widened. I want what's mine. That 15 million naira your husband sent me. Marcus made a mistake, and you're taking advantage of it. That's low, even for a desperate wife. The insult was deliberate, designed to provoke, but Naomi had learned to control her emotions over the past few days. If the money was meant for you, then I'm sure Marcus will send it again, Naomi replied calmly. Why are you here bothering me? Jasmine's expression darkened. Because he can't. That transfer cleaned out a business account. Money he had been saving for months. Money that was supposed to set us up for our future together. The revelation hit Naomi hard. Business account. Savings for months. While she had been borrowing money to feed their daughter, Marcus had been building a future with another woman. The betrayal went deeper than she had imagined. Then you should be having this conversation with Marcus, not me, Naomi said, starting to close the door. But Jasmine put her hand out, stopping it. Let me make this clear. Marcus loves me. He wants to be with me. The only reason he's still pretending to be married to you is because of his family's reputation and that child. But once I have my money back, we're leaving together. So you can either make this easy or difficult. The threat was clear. Jasmine wasn't just a side chick having fun. She was a woman with a plan to completely replace Naomi. And if I don't give you the money? Naomi asked, her voice cold. Jasmine's smile turned cruel. Then I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of woman you are. I'll tell his family you trapped him with pregnancy, that you're blackmailing him, that you're refusing to let him go even though he's miserable. I have evidence, screenshots of our conversations where he talks about how much he regrets marrying you. I'll destroy your reputation so completely that even your own family will turn against you. The words were like poison, each one designed to hurt and intimidate. But Naomi had spent 3 days preparing for this moment. She pulled out her phone and pressed play on a voice recording. Marcus's voice filled the air. Yes, baby, I'll leave her soon. I'm just waiting for the right time. She's nothing to me, just a burden I got stuck with. Jasmine's face went pale as she realized what Naomi had. Evidence. Proof of the affair, of Marcus's plans, of everything. You're not the only one with screenshots, Naomi said quietly. I have messages, call recordings, bank transfers. Everything I need to prove infidelity in divorce court. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave my house right now, and you're going to tell Marcus that if he wants a war, I'll give him one he'll never forget. That money isn't going anywhere except into an account for my daughter's future. And if either of you threatens me again, I'll send every single piece of evidence to his boss, his family, and every social media platform in Nigeria. Jasmine's confidence crumbled. She stepped back, her eyes wide with shock. You're making a mistake, she whispered. Marcus will destroy you for this. Naomi smiled for the first time, a smile as cold as ice. He already tried. I'm still standing. She closed the door in Jasmine's face, locked it, and leaned against it, her whole body shaking. But it wasn't fear. It was adrenaline. She had just faced down her enemy and won. But as she walked back to check on Zara, her phone buzzed with a message that made her blood run cold. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. Watch what happens next. The war between wife and side chick has officially begun, and Marcus is about to make a choice that will change everything. Who do you think will win this battle? Team Naomi or Team Jasmine? Drop your comments and share this video because next chapter will reveal secrets that will shock you to your core. Don't miss it. The scandal broke on a Tuesday morning like a bomb going off in the middle of Lagos high society. Naomi woke up to her phone exploding with notifications, messages from friends, family, even people she hadn't spoken to in years. Her hands trembled as she opened the first message. It was a link to a Facebook post that had been shared thousands of times overnight. The post contained screenshots of private conversations, photos of her and Marcus from their wedding, and a long, detailed story written from Marcus's perspective. My wife trapped me with pregnancy and now she's blackmailing me. She stole 15 million naira from my business account and is threatening to destroy my life if I try to get it back. This woman I married turned out to be a gold digger who never loved me. The lies were so elaborate, so convincing, that Naomi felt physically sick reading them. But the worst part wasn't the post itself. It was the comments. Thousands of people, strangers who knew nothing about her life, were calling her a witch, a money-hungry woman, a marriage destroyer. Someone had even tagged her workplace from 5 years ago, trying to get her reputation destroyed. Jasmine's threat had become reality. They were waging a public war against her, and Marcus was playing the victim perfectly. Naomi's phone rang. It was her mother. Naomi, what is going on? People are sending me this terrible post about you. Tell me it's not true." Her mother's voice was panicked, hurt, confused. "Mama, it's all lies. Marcus is the one who cheated. He sent that money by mistake while trying to send it to his girlfriend." There was silence on the other end. Then her mother spoke, her voice heavy with disappointment. "But why didn't you just give the money back? Why did you keep it? Now look what's happening. You brought shame to this family." The words cut deeper than any of the online comments. Even her own mother was blaming her instead of supporting her. "Mama, that money is for Zara's future. Marcus has been starving us while spending millions on another woman. I had protect." But her mother interrupted. "Men make mistakes, Naomi. That's not news. But a woman who cannot forgive and move forward is worse than the man who strayed. You need to fix this. Apologize to your husband, give back the money, and save your marriage." Naomi ended the call, tears streaming down her face. This was exactly what Marcus and Jasmine had planned. They had turned her into the villain while Marcus played the role of wronged husband. The emotional blackmail was working. People who should have been supporting her were abandoning her instead. But the nightmare was just beginning. By noon, Marcus had filed for divorce, claiming irreconcilable differences and financial fraud. He was suing her for the 15 million naira plus damages. The legal notice was delivered to her by a stern-faced courier who looked at her with judgment in his eyes. Naomi read through the papers with shaking hands. Marcus wasn't just divorcing her. He was trying to paint her as a criminal. He was demanding full custody of Zara, claiming Naomi was mentally unstable and financially irresponsible. The same man who had refused to pay for his daughter's school fees was now fighting to take her away. Naomi called a lawyer she had researched earlier, a sharp woman named Funmi who specialized in divorce cases. "Can he really take Zara from me?" Naomi asked, her voice breaking. Funmi was silent for a moment, reviewing the documents. "He's building a case. The social media post, the witnesses is listed. It's all designed to make you look bad. But we can fight this. Do you still have the evidence you told me about? The recordings, the messages?" Naomi nodded, then realized Funmi couldn't see her. "Yes, I have everything." "Good, because this is going to get ugly. Marcus is playing dirty, which means we need to be strategic." That evening, Marcus came home for the first time in days. But he didn't come alone. He brought his older brother Chidi and his mother, both of them looking at Naomi like she was something disgusting they had found on the bottom of their shoes. "We need to talk," Chidi said, his voice booming with authority. They sat in the living room, Marcus on one side with his family, Naomi alone on the other. It felt like a trial. "Naomi, this has gone too far," Marcus's mother began, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "My son made a mistake. Yes, but you are destroying this family with your selfishness. That money belongs to Marcus. It was meant for his business expansion. By keeping it, you are sabotaging your own husband's success." The manipulation was textbook. They were framing her as a problem, not Marcus's infidelity. "That money was meant for his side chick," Naomi said firmly. "Not for any business expansion. He sent it at 2 a.m. with a message calling her baby and promising her a car." Marcus's mother waved her hand dismissively. "Affairs happen. Men are weak. But a strong woman forgives and moves forward. Look at me. Your father-in-law had 3 women outside our marriage, but I stayed. I kept my home intact. That's what real women do." The statement was so absurd that Naomi almost laughed. This was the example they were holding up? A woman who tolerated serial cheating as some kind of virtue? "With all due respect, Mama, I'm not interested in that kind of marriage," Naomi said. Chidi leaned forward, his eyes hard. "Then you'll lose everything. Marcus will divorce you, take Zara, and you'll be left with nothing. That money won't last forever. And with your reputation destroyed, who will even hire you?" The threat was clear. Surrender or be destroyed. Naomi looked at Marcus, this man she had once loved, and saw a stranger, a coward hiding behind his family while they did his dirty work. "I'm not giving the money back," Naomi said, standing up. "And I'm not giving up my daughter. Marcus cheated. Marcus lied. Marcus chose another woman over his family. If he wants a war, then we'll have a war." The room erupted. Marcus's mother started shouting, calling her ungrateful and stubborn. Chidi threatened legal action and public humiliation. But Marcus just sat there, his face unreadable, and Naomi realized something chilling. He wasn't upset. He was calculating. This whole scene was another manipulation, another attempt to break her down. When they finally left, hurling insults and threats, Naomi locked the door and slid down to the floor. The walls were closing in. The public hated her. Her family blamed her. Marcus's family was declaring war. And somewhere out there, Jasmine was probably laughing, watching Naomi's life fall apart. Her phone buzzed one final time that night. A message from Marcus. "Last chance. Give back the money and sign over custody of Zara. I'll give you enough to start over quietly. Refuse, and I'll make sure you end up with nothing." The stingy husband is showing his true colors, and Naomi is fighting a battle on every front. Will she survive this emotional and legal warfare? Drop a comment if you think she should keep fighting or take the deal. Subscribe now because Chapter 5 will reveal how this whole saga ends, and trust me, nobody sees this conclusion coming. The consequences are about to get real. 6 months had passed since the war began, and Naomi stood in the empty apartment she now called home, a far cry from the spacious house she had once shared with Marcus. The divorce had been finalized 2 weeks ago. Marcus had won on paper, keeping the house, the cars, everything except one thing, Zara. Despite his expensive lawyers and character assassination campaign, the judge had seen through his manipulations and awarded Naomi full custody. The 15 million naira, however, had been split. The judge ruled that since it was indeed a mistaken transfer, Marcus was entitled to half. 7.5 million naira had gone back to him. 7.5 million remained with Naomi, enough to start over if she was careful. But the victory felt hollow because the real story, the one that haunted Naomi every night, was what had happened to Marcus after he got his money back. Naomi had heard the news through the same social media grapevine that had once destroyed her reputation. Marcus had given the 7.5 million naira to Jasmine, along with almost everything else he owned. He had sold his car, cashed out his remaining savings, even taken loans, all to prove to Jasmine that she was his priority, that he was serious about building their future together. The side chick who had caused so much destruction had finally gotten what she wanted. Also, Marcus thought. The reality had been far more brutal. Within 2 months of getting the money, Jasmine had vanished, disappeared completely with every naira Marcus had given her. Her phone number stopped working. Her social media accounts were deleted. The apartment Marcus had rented for her stood empty, the landlord demanding back rent. Jasmine had never loved Marcus. She had been running a long con, playing the role of devoted girlfriend while systematically extracting every bit of wealth she could from him. By the time Marcus realized he had been scammed, it was too late. The man who had once owned a thriving business was now broken. His family, the same family that had supported him in destroying Naomi's reputation, had turned their backs on him. His mother refused to speak to him after learning he had taken loans using her property as collateral, loans he could no longer repay. Chidi had publicly disowned him, embarrassed by the scandal. The same people who had called Naomi a gold digger now whispered about Marcus being a fool who lost everything for a woman who never existed beyond her lies. Naomi had watched it all unfold from a distance, feeling a complex mix of emotions. There was no satisfaction in his downfall, no joy in seeing him suffer, just a profound sadness for how completely he had destroyed himself. The stingy husband who mistakenly sent his wife a huge sum of money had ended up losing infinitely more than 15 million naira. He had lost his family, his dignity, his future. Last week, Marcus had reached out. A simple text message, "Can we talk?" Naomi had ignored it at first, but he persisted. Finally, she agreed to meet him at a small cafe in Ikeja, neutral ground where they could speak without the weight of their shared history crushing them. When she arrived, she barely recognized him. The confident, arrogant man who had once insulted her daily now looked gaunt and tired. His clothes were clean but worn, his eyes hollow with regret. "Thank you for coming," he said quietly as she sat down. They ordered drinks neither of them touched and sat in uncomfortable silence until Marcus finally spoke. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know what I did was unforgivable. But I need you to know that I'm sorry, Naomi. I'm sorry for everything. The cheating, the insults, the way I treated you and Zara. You deserve so much better." His voice cracked on the last words. Naomi listened without interrupting, watching this broken man who had once made her feel worthless. Part of her, the part that had loved him years ago, wanted to offer comfort. But the stronger part, the part that had survived his cruelty and rebuilt her life, remained unmoved. "What happened with Jasmine?" she asked, her voice neutral. Marcus laughed bitterly. "She played me perfectly. Every word, every promise, every moment of affection was fake. She was seeing at least 3 other men at the same time, getting money from all of us. I was just the biggest fool who gave her the most." He paused, staring at his untouched coffee. "I lost everything, Naomi. The business collapsed. I had to file for bankruptcy. I'm living in a 1-room apartment now, doing odd jobs to survive. My own mother won't speak to me. I destroyed my life chasing something that never existed." The consequences had been devastating, exactly as actions of this magnitude deserved. But Naomi felt no triumph, just exhaustion. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked. Marcus looked up, and she saw tears in his eyes. "Because I'm hoping maybe someday you can forgive me. Not for my sake, but for Zara's. She deserves to know her father isn't a complete monster, even though I acted like one." Naomi considered his words carefully. Forgiveness was a complicated thing. She had spent months in therapy, working through the trauma of emotional abuse and betrayal. She had learned that forgiveness didn't mean forgetting or excusing. It meant releasing the anger so it wouldn't poison her own future. "I don't hate you anymore, Marcus," she said finally. "But I also don't want you in my life beyond co-parenting Zara. You made your choices, and now you're living with the consequences. That's not my burden to carry." Marcus nodded, accepting her word with the resignation of someone who knew they had no right to ask for more. "Can I at least see Zara sometimes? I want to be part of her life, even if I can't give her material things anymore." Naomi thought about her daughter, sweet Zara, who still asked about her daddy sometimes, who didn't understand why they no longer lived together. "We can arrange supervised visits, but you need to be consistent. No more broken promises. No more putting other things before your daughter." Marcus agreed eagerly, desperately, the way drowning men grab at lifelines. They parted ways shortly after, both understanding that this chapter of their lives was closed forever. As Naomi walked back to her car, her phone buzzed with a message from her lawyer FundMe. "The online defamation lawsuit against Marcus's family has been settled. You're getting compensation for damages to your reputation." Justice, it seemed, was slow but thorough. That evening, Naomi sat on her small balcony watching the sunset paint the Lagos sky in shades of orange and purple. Zara was inside, playing with the new toys Naomi had bought with money she had earned from a consulting job she had landed last month. Life was starting over, different but not worse. She thought about the journey from that night 6 months ago when a mistaken transfer had revealed her husband's betrayal to now, single but free, broke but hopeful. The stingy husband who had valued his side chick over his family had learned that karma was real and consequences were inevitable. Jasmine had stolen everything from him and disappeared like smoke, proving that people who help destroy others rarely stick around to help rebuild. And Naomi, the wife who had been insulted and betrayed, had survived and was slowly thriving. The sad ending wasn't Hayes to carry. It belonged to Marcus, who would spend years rebuilding what he had so carelessly destroyed. Naomi was writing a different story now, one where she was a hero, not the victim. And that's how the stingy husband story ends, not with redemption but with consequences. Jasmine got away with everything. Marcus lost it all, and Naomi survived to fight another day. Life doesn't always give us happy endings, but sometimes the best revenge is just living well. What do you think? Did Marcus get what he deserved? Should Naomi have helped him after everything? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story touched you, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs to hear that survival is possible even after betrayal. Thank you for staying with me through all 5 chapters of this emotional journey. Until the next story, take care of yourselves and remember, never let anyone make you feel worthless, because you're worth more than any mistake they could ever make.